Welcome back to the ZERT Coffee and Chaos Podcast, the show where we talk about anything and everything relating to what it means to be a survivalist and a prepared individual in today's society. I'm your host, Chris Bartagone, ZP002. On the show with me today, a new person, Chris Cerino. Chris, welcome to the ZERT Coffee and Chaos Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Obviously, for all of those who do not know Chris, we're going to get into that in just a few minutes here. But, when I saw you over at SHOT Show 2 weeks ago, it was a brief encounter, and it normally isn't a brief encounter. Usually I get to see you and sit and talk for a little bit, but you and I caught up afterwards on just via text, and I threw this out to you, and you were great enough to come on here. So I really appreciate you coming on and being a part of what this experience is all about. It's a fun time, and we don't really have anything planned to talk about today, but you and I have known each other for a little bit, and we have a lot to talk about when it comes to all things Chris Cerino. So glad you are here.
We could talk about anything. We don't have to just talk about me.
No. I know. But I do want what's that?
Listen to this podcast.
I do want people that listen to this podcast to know who Chris Cerino is. So Chris, obviously I first noticed you. I first started, being a fanboy of Chris Cerino when I watched the show Top Shot. And for all of those that are out here listening to the show, obviously, one of the other people that are on the show that co-hosts with me is Jamie Franks, who was also on Top Shot. I loved that show, man. I love that show. As a firearms enthusiast, I was like, it was the coolest thing in the world. I dreamed every day. I was like, God, I would love to be on that show. And now I have the fortunate pleasure of calling a few of the guys and some of the females that were on that show friends of mine, you being one of them. And so that's where I first met you. Or I met you virtually there, and then we met a few years later in West Virginia at the good old Peacemaker.
Yeah,
at a 3-gun match. Yeah. And that's how we start.
Young and cool.
Well, you're still cool, but we're both not young anymore. So
that's
sorry.
But
Chris, give us give the old listeners a little elevator pitch as to the history of Chris Cerino and how you got into the firearms industry. I know it starts from a law enforcement background, right?
Yeah, actually, I got into the firearms industry because of Top Shot. But let's go back.
Okay, that's.
I got in law enforcement when I was 22. I was never a gun guy. I hunted a little bit. Like to steal my dad's 22 and take it in the woods because it was really fun to do.
Yeah.
Thank God nothing bad ever happened. Law enforcement, I had a gun that I bought for a second gun, but I also just had my issued gun. And I became a trainer, and I kept moving on and became a SWAT guy because I was always the best of the bad lot. They're like, hey, you're pretty good. You want to do this? So I would do it,
Okay.
Hey, you're pretty good. You want to go to firearms instructor school? So I did. And I really had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to do anything. I just knew that if you pointed the gun in this direction and pulled the trigger, you're probably going to hit what you're supposed to hit.
All right. Interesting take.
Qualification by mere saturation of the air with lead.
There you go. I like it.
So then, from there, I got an opportunity to go to the Air Marshals. Had a friend that was out there as a trainer in Artesia. And so he said, hey, you should put in for this. And there was like 1 million people put in for that.
Yeah.
And they hired a bunch of us. And
obviously that was post 9/11, right? That's when they.
Yeah, it was a few months after 9/11. It was probably, I think I went in the following year in the spring.
Okay. Yeah.
So I got hired and I did that. And then I was flying and they said, hey, you're pretty good. You want to be an instructor? So I said, yeah, then I don't have to fly anymore.
Yeah.
And I became a trainer for the Air Marshals, ended up becoming the lead trainer for Cleveland field office. And then things were weird there. And of course I didn't really like it anyways. It was good money, but it was government work.
Right.
So I got hired by the state of Ohio, by the Attorney General's office, and I became the lead firearms instructor for the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy.
Okay. Awesome.
And I did that. And that's when I was there is when Top Shot happened.
Oh, wow.
And so I was still working in law enforcement and training, and Top Shot happened. And then I came back, and I had been teaching all the different weapon platforms, but I still wasn't really a gun guy. I
Okay.
just was really good with them, and I could get other people to be really good with them because my time at the Air Marshals was very formative.
Yeah.
And Top Shot happened, and about a year after Top Shot, I was like, "Screw this! I'm going to start my own company." And
Okay.
went into a part-time law enforcement role and did my law enforcement and my training company. And I shot matches all over the country. You know that because
Yeah.
you've seen me there. And I just tried to become part of the industry because I had gone to SHOT Show that first year after Top
Yeah.
Show. And I was like, holy crap, man, this is a great place
It's,
to work.
it really is. It's fun. So just backing up a second. So I've got a buddy of mine who went and joined the Marshals around the same time. And then he went on that same trajectory, and he's still with them. Guy I went to high school with named Mike LaFrance. He's up here in New Jersey. Yeah. But what season of Top Shot were you on? Remind me.
I was on season 1 and Allstars.
Okay, that's right. Season 1 and
Their
All-Stars.
first season, which was, kind of lackluster. They didn't know what they were doing. We tried to show them what to do. It was fun though, because we got to be that experimental, cast crew.
It was
And
Ian
then
won that year, right?
I really enjoyed. Yeah, Ian won, and Ian and I, of course, we're great friends.
Yeah. I don't remember much about that season. I remember the one challenge where you dudes were on that like little zip line car, and you had to engage targets on the left and the right.
That was one of the elimination challenges. That was Peter Palma and maybe Frank, I think, were on that challenge, because I do remember that. And since then, of course, and Kobe bought that and has it down at his ranch, and I've since got to go on that many times.
That's wild. Frank was the police officer from New York or New Jersey, like up north somewhere, right? Yeah. Okay. I got a good memory sometimes. Peter Palma is one of my favorite guys to talk to. He came up to one of those matches up at Peacemaker, and I got to spend some time with him. That's when I was at Dewey Rods. Great guy. I wish he was around more. I haven't
seen him in forever. He had a baby.
Yep.
He got a really good engineering job because that's
did.
what he went to school for, as an engineer.
Yeah. So I remember that show, and the All-Star season. I loved that season. That season was great. And one of the funnest people that I enjoyed watching shoot was Blake.
Oh yeah. Blake's one of our state senators down here.
I do, which is awesome. Love that. And Blake was so good, but I think I remember in that All-Star season, y'all kept him out for they sat him all the time.
I'm here to tell you that Blake was just up here shooting at a match here, right around here by my work. And he has made it his priority to be able to pick up anything and kill with it. I mean, he is amazing. He was here. He must have shot 10 different guns. You would never know he never touched them before. I mean, he always used to call me. He's like, yeah, I need to channel my inner Cerino. I got to get my accuracy game on, because he's fast, but he wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
And he could shoot his gun, but he couldn't shoot every gun. But now Blake does he does speed, he does accuracy, he does everything. Blake's amazing.
I enjoyed watching him. Obviously there was quite a few contestants on that show that I really enjoyed watching and enjoyed seeing. There was a couple on there that I couldn't wait for them to get kicked off. And each season had somebody that I really remember, and I kind of go back to. And like I said, there's been some that I get to talk to quite often. But so the firearms industry, like you said, you got there and you were like, wow, this is a great place to be. And I could not agree with you more. There has been times in my career path here where the firearms industry and I we broke up, I mean, I got let go from a company, or I decided to leave a company, and I started to look outside of this industry. And my background isn't always in here. I mean, I was in the automotive industry for a long time. And it just doesn't have the same feel. It doesn't have the same camaraderie. You know, I go to SHOT Show every year to do business and to network with the people that I've made great relationships with over my time here. And I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Would you say that at this SHOT Show, there were fewer familiar faces than any other SHOT Show before?
Not for me.
Okay.
What about for you?
For me, I was just like, I didn't know so many people. Of course, I saw so many,
Yep.
and it's still, I mean, you're still talking about dozens, if not,
Oh yeah,
100, but it was just different. Faces are changing, and it's okay because everything changes. But man, I mean, I remember when I couldn't walk 30 feet without being stopped. I couldn't walk 100 yards without getting stopped 8 times.
true. Now, what I will tell you about this SHOT Show was it seemed quieter. There were definitely not the same type of, I mean, I at one point I was like, I can walk through these aisles without and move freely and zigzag around the slow walkers. Yeah, it was. I mean, I walked into SHOT Show every morning through the Caesars Forum, and you weren't down that sea of people outside the Venetian, the Sands Expo, whatever it's called. So I really like that. Now, for me, I would walk by the high-vis booth and see tests. And, I walked by the Streamlight booth and I saw Bobby, who I've known for years, and over by the Huxworks booth and saw Daryl, I mean, so all of those people were still there. Brian over at Barrett, Jeff Birch over at FN. Like, I saw all of those people. And then even walking through the aisle, I would run into people. Now, it's a fraction of the amount of people that were there, but then I also met a lot of new companies. One of the great things about ZERT is every year I'm going there to see what our current affiliate vendors have that's new, right? And we do the videos like we did with Faraday Defense on their new EMP protection stuff, and Mira Safety on their new gas mask. Yeah. But then I'm going to meet with new companies that I want to work with, like the guys over at Low Light Innovations when it comes to night vision and stuff like that. The industry is always evolving, and it's not like there is new ideas. While there are some, you've got to search those out there. Is a new take on an existing idea that may or may not be better than the original, but it's
the new stuff all gets hidden in the basement or upstairs in some other area.
Yeah.
And it's supposed it's the new stuff, but nobody wants to take the time to go there because all your meetings and everything are here.
Right. Now, I didn't even realize there was a 5th floor.
Neither did I.
Right. So somebody told me to meet him up on the 5th floor. I was like, there's a 5th floor here? Okay. So I did. And this is going to sound horrible, but it seemed like a very sad place to be. It was one room with aisles. I mean, there was like a plate carrier company up there. There was just a lot of
sadness.
Yeah, it does. I hate that, they really need to figure out how to bring that down and bring it in. Now, the downstairs is, there's still companies there that you go. I mean, Microtech. Microtech's a very popular brand. They're still downstairs.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Randy Luth AR. He's downstairs. Yep. You kidding me? So there is what you said is what I find interesting. I had meetings and people have asked, okay, well, what did you see that was new? I didn't see a lot there. I saw the places that I had to go, but I don't know how you would walk that floor because I haven't done it in all of the years I've been there and see everything.
You can't.
I don't even know how it's possible. The only way it's possible is if you go with a group of people and you tell one group to stay on the bottom floor, one group to stay on the top floor, one group to stay in Caesars. That's when you can get the most.
You didn't see it.
Exactly. Then you just get it secondhand.
Yep.
I just don't. And they're always expanding. And I don't know if this fifth floor has been around for years or not, but my gosh. Right. So, all right. So you have been in the industry now for a minute. You loved it there. You and I both love it. And now you have your training company and you're going around. Were you traveling the United States teaching firearms?
Yeah, I was teaching classes everywhere, coast to coast, border to border. It was great.
Okay.
Teaching at a lot of law enforcement conferences, because law enforcement was always my bread and butter.
Sure.
But, then the civilian market started becoming more because more people wanted it. I ran the FASTER program for the state of Ohio, which is the armed teacher program for the state of Ohio for 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. How'd that go?
Oh, it's still going. I mean,
Still
I gave it to my ex-wife and said, do with it what you will.
Okay.
She had some of my old guys up there and they could figure it out, man. I got divorced and moved to Louisiana and now I work full time at Gun Talk.
Okay. Now, all right. So what was that the end of the training company or are you still doing some firearms training or no?
No, I canned it. I canned it all because now I don't have to worry about where my next paycheck's coming from. And I'm still doing training because I'm still, me doing this. I run Range Ready down here at Gun Talk Studios.
Okay.
And I run 1 to 2 classes a month still. I wish I did as much as I did before. Sure. I enjoyed that. But I have to do other things. Like I have to be on camera here in a while. I have things.
Yes, you have things to do. You're a busy man. You're Chris Cerino, and that's a big.
I'm lucky. I am
Chris
Cerino, but I'm a very fortunate man. I've always landed in rose petals somehow.
That's a good place to be. All right, so let's talk Gun Talk. So now, how long have you been working for Gun Talk?
Well, after Top Shot, I was shooting professionally, and I was repping Crimson Trace.
Yeah,
they were sponsoring me. Well, Crimson Trace had me come down here me and my ex-wife, to be on First Person Defender, one of the shows that I do.
Yep.
And we did it, and Tom liked me, and they started bringing me back for little bits, doing on-camera stuff. So for almost 13 years, I did contract work for Gun Talk. I would come down a couple weeks a year, do a week of First Person Defender, a week of Gun Talk, do the on-range stuff with the new products and things.
Okay.
And then they found out I was getting divorced and said, "Hey, we want to hire you full time."
There you go.
Said, "Well, I'm going south," so I did.
Okay. Oh, and so obviously Gun Talk's main location is where you are.
We're in Robert, Louisiana. We're about an hour north of New Orleans.
Okay.
So where we're at, we can have everything we need. We have a studio, we have a shoot house, we have a live fire range, we have everything.
Perfect. All right. So take me through what Gun Talk is, or not so much me, but the listeners here, some of them and so obviously if you do not know, and I'll just kind of give you a little bit here, we publish our shows every Thursday, and this goes out on the Firearms Radio Network and through Apple, and then also goes out on Spotify. We've got members that obviously listen across this country, but we also have members outside of this country. Not every listener is a firearms focused individual, because we do encompass more than just firearms here. We talk about it. We talk about a lot of different things. So for those that might be uninformed about Gun Talk, give us a little bit about what Gun Talk is and what you guys do down there. You said you have an entire facility. So
yeah, it's a 3rd generation company. Ryan Gresham's the owner now, and it started out with his grandfather Grits, and Grits used to be on all the Bud Light commercial or Miller Lite commercials. Tastes great, less filling, with all the football guys.
Yep.
And he did Sports Afield and all those outdoor shows of the old days when we were kids, and we used to watch them on Saturdays.
Okay. All right.
And then his dad, Tom, he had the radio show. That's in its 30th year, Gun Talk Radio, and it's
Okay.
nationally syndicated on hundreds of stations.
Interesting.
100 stations. And then, so Tom started Gun Talk TV, and we have a TV show called Guns and Gear, which is on Sportsman's Channel. And
Okay.
we started another TV show about when I started 3 years ago called Build Box, where we get people's guns in. It started out as a competition build show.
Yeah.
But it was too labor intensive, man. I mean, the amount of product we needed to get it done.
Yep.
So what we do is we bring in viewers' guns. We take suggestions and we get them in here, and then we refurb them and give them a whole makeover and turn the old into new, or just fix up the old.
Okay.
It's kind of fun, like doing a little kind of like a garage show, where you're working on a car.
Yeah. All right. So that's two shows that are out on syndicated TV
On on Outdoor Channel.
On the Outdoor Channel. Okay. So when can they find? I mean,
Wednesday night at the range.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night at the range on Outdoor Channel. Yep. And then we're on Sportsman's and the other channel. There's another channel. There's a Sportsman's channel and then a Pursuit channel.
Okay.
So and stuff sometimes on there.
Okay. And so obviously for all of you that are listening to this show on Spotify or Apple, what we will do is we will put the link to those shows. I'm sure the schedule is probably on the website, right?
I'd imagine.
Okay. So we'll put the link in the video portion of the show, which goes out on YouTube, as you all are aware. So we'll put that there so you guys can find it if you want to check this out. I used to love watching the Outdoor Channel and watching all the stuff. I mean, growing up watching Shooting USA,
Shooting Gallery.
Yeah. So all of that stuff was awesome. Okay. So that's what you guys, so your shows are there. Now, what else gets done down at Gun Talk? And I'm familiar with Gun Talk and Ryan because he came out and did an episode with Polycase Ammunition back in the day. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry.
We still have some.
Yeah, you still do? Awesome. The 300 Blackout. I think they went killing hogs with the 300 Blackout there. So very interesting. All right. So what other types of stuff like are you putting on there? So you said you teach some classes. What about?
I teach classes here. What about what?
What about, you said something about shooting matches as well?
Oh yeah, we host some local things here once in a while when someone needs a venue, because we do have 100-yard and 250-yard ranges, and we have 3 bays.
Okay.
So it's nice, and we're not open to the public in any way, shape, or form, because first and foremost, the whole place is a studio.
Got it. Okay.
We have some matches, and I do classes, and we have fun experience classes. Like we've got the Ruger RXM coming up this month. I think it's next week.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Everybody that signed up, I don't know what the cost was. Might have been $1,300 or something. They get 2 days of training. They get all their ammo. They get a Ruger RXM. They get a Vortex Defender Red Dot. They get holsters, mag pouches, and lunch both days.
Wow. Now, do they leave with the RXM or they? No way. That is awesome. So $1,300 for a 2-day class. You get to train, which in itself is awesome. But then you walk away with a full belly and a gun.
And all the gear.
That is awesome. Now, I will tell you that I got to meet with the folks over at Ruger while I was in Vegas, and I got connected with them by a buddy of mine who still works for Norma. And we're hopefully going to do some work with Ruger as well. I do want to get my hands on that RXM. One of my instructors who teaches for ZERT put his hands on it, and he says it's a great gun.
The only thing they did wrong is they priced it too cheap.
Well, yeah, they did that. They did do that, but I think what they did right is they're going to take that Polymer 80 group right out. Like Polymer 80 does a serialized finished firearm, but the problem is it doesn't fit any holsters. The moment they came out with the RXM and said it fits any 19 holster with a light, it was a game changer. You have changed that entire group of people who love the Glock but hate the grip angle. and now you've captured that market. So good
They did
on
a
them.
really nice job.
Yeah.
Them and Magpul did a really nice job. I hate that other pistol. It's not my one pistol for sure, but that RXM has so many nice components, and it feels good. It shoots good. We beat one up. We put 8,400 rounds through it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And
I saw that video. And just remind me, what is the pattern cut for, the optic pattern? Is it cut for RMR?
It probably takes everything because it has a pin system under it.
Oh, it does.
Like the Springfield Echelon.
Yeah. You were
right on. It's cut.
Yeah, I remember that you did the video on the Echelon, and one of the things, and I mean, I'm just going to say it because, and we can have a conversation about it. One of the things with these companies like Springfield and Ruger, they work with guys like you, like the guys that have that good following, and they get those firearms into the hands of those people. And all of the videos drop on the same day. So that there is, obviously, those are all pistols that were sent to a bunch of people to go out there and review it and talk about the quality of that pistol at the time. And, one of the things that I don't see is anybody talking about that Echelon anymore, right?
They market it to law enforcement pretty much. So law enforcement isn't going to buy anything. They want everything for free.
Yeah. And that's one of the
model. And then how much could I have to pay? Oh, that's too much.
Right. And that's one of the things, like, everyone got out there, like everybody, all of these influencers, these guys with big platforms were out there talking about how the Echelon was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then
it's amazing.
Okay. I mean, that's good, but I don't see anybody really talking about it anymore. And, every week you can turn on YouTube and see another video about the newest Glock 19 killer that's out on the market, right? And everybody does that. Now you can see where they go afterwards, because what is the aftermarket support?
Right.
Are there holster companies making all the holsters for it? One of the things that I liked about the Echelon, and I'm sure you can dive into it a little bit, was I liked their optic, universal optic cut idea with pins.
That's how the Ruger is. You can put anything on it. You just move stuff around.
So that's very interesting, and I'm glad that Ruger did that as well. And I think price-wise, the Ruger, it comes in lower than the Echelon.
The Ruger's, like, I've seen it online for like $349.
Oh, Jesus, that's a great price. And the other thing is, and I don't remember, is the Echelon modular, where you can take that we're just going to call it a fire control unit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you can do that. So obviously that's the way of, I don't want to say the way of the future, but that's where everything is. Yeah. Everything is kind of going that way. So I'm glad that you guys are doing that. And I reached out to you maybe a month and a half ago, and I asked you to connect me with somebody at Smith & Wesson, because I know that you've done some stuff with those guys as well. And that's one brand that was my first brand. Like, that was my first.
Did I give you a name for that?
Oh yeah, you did. I've gone back and forth with those guys. I love their stuff, and I wish that they would continue to push and fight for the market share that they deserve. Because their product is a really, really quality product. It's a great product. It's the one that I still shoot the best out of everything. And I love it. Yeah. I just love their stuff, and they're starting to come out with such new and awesome products, with their new comp carry and their new comp competitor, some good stuff.
I don't get it. I don't understand all the fancy stuff for a carry gun or a shooter gun. They want a compensator on a 3-inch gun. I mean, 6 Hour says they found it. The X macro reduces with compensator, reduces recoil by 25%. And you know what? They may be right.
Right. But we are talking about 9mm.
A little different.
Right.
But guns are guns. I just shoot them.
And exactly. And all of that is fixable with reps and training.
Yeah,
You can mitigate recoil if you shoot. You look at some of the best pistol shooters out there. You know, the guys like Bob Vogel, Taryn, all of these guys that are high quality. You like when you were shooting at that show, when you were shooting competitions, you didn't have compensated guns.
No.
You had stock Glocks
Well,
that, well, for the most part,
everybody
stock.
wants, everybody wants, everybody wants a magic pill. They want something that's
No.
going to make it easier. And
No.
it's, I mean, it really just comes down to learning things properly and then getting time on task under the watchful eye of a qualified instructor.
Yeah, that's very important, and we talk about that a lot on this show. We talk about, you know, being that prepared individual, that survivalist. Training and knowledge will always trump gear. You know, knowing how to build a fire will trump having a lighter. I mean, granted, if you have a lighter, use a lighter to start a fire, but if you don't and you know how to build a fire with, you know, bushcraft skills, that's great. You know, we talk about having medical training is 90% of it, and having the equipment is, well, maybe not metal, maybe about a little bit more like 70-30, but you can have an IFAK all you want. You can have a medical kit all you want, but if you don't know how to apply a tourniquet or how to pack a wound, it's useless.
Chest seal.
Right. Yeah. Chest seal. That's all useless. You can go and take your gun and get it juiced up by the best whatever company out there who does the milling and the slides and the this and the that and the target. But if you can't hit the broadside of a barn and you've got all of your finger on the trigger and you're low left on everything, none of that matters. It's all comes down to the training and the knowledge that you seek out, acquire, and then retain. So
all comes down to hits on target.
That's it. So so now you've been with Gun Talk for how long?
3 years now. I'm the
3
producer
years.
of training content, but I'm also the director of Range Ready.
Okay, great. All right. And so now I know that you have to do some filming today. So we're going to be cognizant of this. We normally keep these shows to an hour. But you know, it comes down to, trust me, there's been shows that we've been on for, I mean, we can go 2 hours with some of the stuff we talk about, but what are you filming today? Can you talk about it, or is it secret squirrel stuff?
Well, Vortex has some new stuff coming out that I can't talk about.
Oh,
I'm working with.
Okay. So Vortex Optics, which is interesting because there was a while that Vortex was sending boxes of stuff to ZERT back in the day. And, you know, not sure if you're aware of it or not, but, you know, ZERT started off as a kind of a training company, right? The original owner used to work at a gun store, and guys used to come in and do the whole gun store talk thing. And he used to kind of talk about it on the secret squirrel down low stuff where they would go and they would do training. He was former military, and from there it started to evolve, and more people started to show up, and then it became this membership based community where they signed up and they would get a t-shirt and a patch and a certificate, and they would get year 1, year 2, and then as it started to grow, it started to catch the eyes of more people. One of those people happened to be Jack Osborne, Ozzy's son. And that's when they filmed the pilot episode of Surviving the Apocalypse. And it came out, I think the pilot episode aired on Nat Geo or whatever. And it's still one of our most popular videos on the YouTube channel, but it really kind of blew up after that. Like that's when ZERT became a global kind of phenomenon, if you will. You know, we've cycled through over 26,000 members. We've got members in 41 different countries across the globe. And it started to really get popular, but that's when other brands started to want to work with us. Like we used to work with Blade Tech and I believe 511, Corbon Ammo, MGM Steel, Vortex Optics. Like they used to get those products sent in, and we would do the product reviews on it, and really kind of use it as a media outlet. So that's interesting that Vortex is coming in and there's some new stuff coming out. I just happened to look at some of their products recently and notice some of their red dots. I'm hoping one of these new products is an enclosed emitter compact pistol red dot, but we will see. Do
That
we
is-
have it? What's that?
That would be interesting.
It would be very interesting. Do you have an ETA on when some of this stuff is
I
going
don't
to?
know. KJ keeps all that stuff. I don't know when they come out.
Okay, all right. You're just a handsome face.
Yeah, we're going to film it so that we have it ready to launch, and we'll be out there. It's weather's great here in Louisiana this week. It's been in the high 70s every day. It's been ridiculous.
Awesome. Well, the weather's not great here. So folks, if you're listening to this show, and by the time that this show drops, there may be information that's actually out now. Where can they find that information if it does come out? Should they pay attention to Vortex?
Well, no, you want to follow guntalk.com.
All right. So Gun Talk, is it guntalk.com for the website? Okay. And now obviously the social media.
For the Range Ready Studios, it's just rangereadystudios.com.
Okay. And obviously there's social media platforms as well, right?
Yeah,
so they can follow you all there. Now, are you the guy in charge of the social media, or they just use your handsome face?
Any of that. KJ and Hannah. I'm not good at it, but I try to get some good material for them so they can cut it together for me.
All right, great. So listen, as we kind of close this thing out, I kind of want to understand, ZERT is more than just a firearms centric brand. We do focus on all encompassing survival and kind of preparedness. Are you are?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you see the movie Homestead?
No, I got to write that down. What?
Yeah,
I doubt it.
Yeah, you got to write that down. I mean, one of the main characters in that, he reminds me of you, but the main security guy there. But anyway, obviously Homestead, a movie about an incident that happens. Something happens on the West Coast, something happens on the East Coast, and it's all about people kind of bugging out into this property, and that's where kind of people hold up as the world crumbles. So you're a big prepper. You've got your plan in place. You've got a kind of an idea, and you got your medical supplies and all that.
Yep, medical supplies. I like to all my extra medicines from surgeries and stuff, because I don't like to take antibiotics or pain meds if I don't have to.
Yeah.
And I don't. I take Tylenol and I just use triple antibiotic and pray for the best. But
yeah.
Like packages of that stuff, all that medicine is labeled and vacuum sealed.
Yeah. Is there anything in your preparedness kit or survival kit that you're lacking on that you think that needs help? One of the things that I find that I'm struggling with is comms, right? Like, we all know that you're not going to be able to
say.
Yeah.
But even if we get those radios, those great radios, what are they called again? Everybody's talking about
ham radios.
Oh, the other ones that the people can buy, but you're supposed to have a license.
I don't.
There's a name for them. They've got these new ones out that work. They work a good long ways.
Okay.
Damn, the radios. Me and KJ talk about it all the time.
Well, I know that you're supposed to have the license to get to be able to utilize the ham radio. And I know that weekly our ZERT members check in through this thing called Zello, which is but it's an app that works through the phones. You're right. These ham radios, these shortwave radios that operate, they're only so far, and then you have to get all the repeaters and whatnot to be able to really kind of reach out and communicate. So it is definitely one of the things that is kind of a hole in my setup, in my gear.
What are you going to do? How are you going to charge it when the batteries are dead?
True. Yeah.
There's no power. What are you going to do with it?
Right. Yeah.
So is it worth worrying about? Because my thing is, so my building is a giant Faraday cage, right?
Yes.
So huge. I have this thing, and so my four-wheeler runs.
Okay.
But now I decide I'm going to ride into town to see what I can raid.
Yep.
So I've got to ride 10 miles into town. Hopefully the roads aren't blocked. Even with a four-wheeler, I can probably get around it. But why wouldn't someone just kill me and take it?
Exactly.
Or wait for me to come back from town with whatever I have and then kill me and take what I got and it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to walk.
Right.
All that stuff doesn't matter.
Right. And that's one of the things that we talk about on this show often is it starts with your plan. And whatever your plan is, you better have 3 or 4 plans after that when your first plan is no longer an option.
Yeah, my house is a compound, but how long can I seriously stay there before I have to
Exactly.
go mobile? And when I
Right.
go mobile, how much of everything that I've amassed can I truly take with me?
Right. Right. Like I've had to put 10,000 rounds of ammo in the back of my truck, and I do not recommend it to anybody. That's a lot of ammo to put.
10,000 rounds of ammo.
Right.
You can't even carry 10,000 rounds of 22
No.
because you can carry 5,000, but you can carry a brick. You can carry
Exactly.
a few bricks.
Yep.
And that's
You can.
money.
Right.
That's bartering.
Right. And we talk about this a lot on this show as well. Like, what are you grabbing it when you go? Like, what is your rifle that you're carrying? What is your pistol? One of my rifles that like I'm bringing my Ruger 1022 with, that you can carry close to 5,000 rounds. Like you said, you can carry a couple of bricks of ammo,
especially amongst people.
Right. So it's
the radios are called Baofangs.
Baofeng. Yeah. So Baofeng is the brand, but it's a ham radio, and those are great. Oh yeah, everyone is buying them.
I've got when there's no power.
True. Very true. And that's so it's funny you bring that up because like all of these companies are coming out with things that have rechargeable batteries. Okay, that's great. But I don't want to take my light out of the game to recharge.
My new $500 Surefire, that's rechargeable. Where am I going to charge it?
Exactly. Now, if it's dual fuel and you can run it on a regular CR123, so you take that battery that needs to be charged out and you plug that in and then you just throw regular batteries in, and they're like, well, you're going to lose performance. Yeah, but I'm not going to lose the total light. If I can't charge it, what's the point? So it makes no sense. I love that. Like, and I'm going to be the first to tell you, I carry a handheld along with a weapon mounted light, and it's a stream light, and it is dual fuel, but it's rechargeable. I mean, there's been a couple of times where I use the light and it's dead. I'm like, great. I don't have the battery with me, but we just plug it back in and somebody's here. We're going to invite them to the show.
Oh, somebody got confused and tried to let themselves in here.
Okay.
This is my classroom.
Okay. All right. What is your end time here? I don't want to take up too much of it.
Well, I think we've got a few more minutes. Do you have any other ideas? Because if you don't, we're good. I mean, I just so you know, I do think a lot about end times. I have plans. I have more than enough to weather the 10-day storm, which could be the temporary 10-day that's going to cause the cities to melt down.
Yeah.
But I'm far enough away from the city that by the time anything gets to me, I'll have whittled my stuff down to a point where it's time to get on the move.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah. I mean, and like I had said it a couple of times so far, we encourage people to start with the mindset and start with the plan and have multiple plans as to what you're going to do. Everyone thinks they're going to grab their cell phone, they're going to go out to their vehicle, and they're going to start driving. Okay, great. What if the attack we encountered is an EMP?
Well, that's the biggest worry.
Right. You're not going anywhere. Now, one of our affiliates is Faraday Defense, and you did mention your building being basically a Faraday cage. They're great. And they've got some great stuff that protects your vehicle and that protects your home from that EMP. And that's an option. Okay. And even if you have those installed and you are going to get in your vehicle and go, did you fill up your gas tank the night before? Are you full at the ready all the time?
How much
or do you have
keep in your Faraday building?
Right.
You be able to refill things up.
Exactly. Do you have
roads are going to be clogged?
Yeah. Oh, if they're going to be operating at all. So
if you're driving, I'm cutting a tree down, blocking your path and shooting you in the head when you chop it out of the way.
Exactly. Right. So that's what I think a lot of people don't really kind of take into consideration is when this shit goes sideways, the world and the people among it are no longer, if you think we have division now, when supplies get scarce, that's when it really starts to happen. I mean, everybody looks at the walking
out the window.
Yeah. Like everybody looks at The Walking Dead and thinks it's a show about zombies. And while it did start that way, the biggest threat became the people that survived and wanting to get what's yours. We talk about ZERT being a community, and thankfully it's a small and close community, and we have members across, like I said, the country and the globe that are a part of it. But we all have to go into this understanding that you can't do it as a lone wolf, but you need to have some sort of team at when that stuff happens.
Everybody needs to bring value to the table.
True. We say that all the time too. Do not show up or you have all of those people that are like, oh, when this goes down, I'm just going to come to your house.
I'm just going to come to your house.
Yeah. With what? What are you bringing? Don't come empty handed. Bring a skill.
Bring some skill.
Right.
How about being a nurse?
Nurse. Yeah. Gardening. Like the people that are going to provide value add instead of, a liability. But Chris, I really, really appreciate you taking the time today. I know that you have a lot going on, and this was kind of last minute. And so thank you for joining us today. And anybody that is listening to the show, make sure you head over to guntalk.com or rangeready.com. You can find their social media platforms through there. Follow those. If do you still have not your personal page, we don't want to tell people to do that, but do you still have any kind of company Instagram or whatnot, or is it all just that Gun Talk and Range Ready?
Oh, I'm done. I'm just Chris Cerino with Gun Talk.
There you go. Awesome. Well, listen, man. Yeah, I thank you. And is there any closing remarks from you?
No, just keep doing what you're doing, and the people that are part of what you're doing there. It sounds like you guys are doing great, fun things. Have some training, know how to use the gear that you have, whether it's medical, firearms, or, water filtration, doesn't matter. And enjoy. I mean, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll get to see it in our lifetime, but I have a feeling we're not going to.
Probably not. Who knows? With this political climate, you never know what's going to happen. The next 4 years are going to be a wild time. But all right, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. And until next time, you guys stay safe out there. ZP002 out.